Welcome back to round 7 of the Abstrakt Sales Academy. I'm Ben Newman, and I'm sure you have figured it out by now. Now that we're to round 7, I get fired up about this opportunity to be with you to talk about going to that next level of your success. So let me ask you a couple of questions about how things are going so far through this training. What's working? What have you implemented? What mental training techniques are making a difference? And are the ones that are making a difference, are you using them? Have you gone back to review some of the mental training tools that you haven't had a chance to use yet? What about these first 7 rounds? What's working outside of content that I teach? Because what I teach, it's not the only way. There are other things you're doing that are driving success. How are you doing with driving those principles? How are you doing with driving those daily activities personally and professionally? I wanted to start today by not only asking you those questions to get you thinking, connecting to what's making you successful right now, but I wanted to go all the way back to round 1 to talk about attaining belief in yourself. Why? And you might be asking yourself, well, he goes back and he does recap on a lot of the topics that we've already covered. Why do I do that? Because these topics are that important for you. When you write down big dreams, big goals, big beliefs, ask yourself, is it enough to revisit them once? Or does it make sense, as we discussed in those earlier rounds, to create that environment where you're constantly reviewing, challenging yourself to be uncomfortable, to drive greatness to that next level? So before we talk about prospecting, uncovering the rocks, getting after it, going to that next level for you, and before I share a powerful story about prospecting, I wanted to talk about attaining belief in yourself again. Now, if you remember when we first talked about this, attaining belief in yourself does not mean I'm saying you don't believe in yourself. It means where you are right now, based upon the success you have already achieved, what is the next level of success that you will drive in your life? If you remember, there were 5 steps to attaining belief in yourself. 5 steps that evaluated the truth of where you currently are. And in order to get to the next level, sometimes we have to slow down. Heck, this is a fast-paced world. I mean, it's unbelievable how things are coming at us. Not only are people driving fast down the street, social media has us going fast. Heck, I'm now signed up on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Periscope. If you want extra content beyond these videos, come check us out on Periscope at Continued Fight. We're constantly delivering fire, weekly videos to take you to that next level. But it's moving so fast, how often do we slow down to think about the things that we want and to evaluate where we currently are, to see what's working and what changes we can make to improve, to stay uncomfortable, to go to that next level? 5 steps of attaining belief in yourself, all about the truth. And if you remember, after you go through those 5 steps, and they're all in your handouts, you get down to that last section that says, take out a piece of paper and write down your goals, your purpose, your dreams, the things that are important to you. What's the purpose? What's the reason why you want to follow through with the action steps to be successful? And what are the goals personally and professionally? Maybe some of you already hit those goals for the first 7 months. Maybe some of you are a little bit behind. I don't care where you are, what I believe most in and what I care most about is your belief of what you can accomplish through the rest of these next several rounds that we have together. That can be the difference for you as you attain belief in yourself. So here's what I'd like you to do. I want you to go back to your notes from the beginning of the year. If you're now just joining us for this round and you haven't seen the past rounds, you can go check them out. But at this point in time, go through those 5 steps and write down, what's your purpose? What are the things that you want personally and professionally? Take your time. Maybe take about a good 5, 6, 7 minutes. You know, each round is about 45 minutes. That's going to include our work time because I know you were all planning this into your schedules. So take about 5, 6, 7 minutes, and I want you to plan through what this next level of belief looks like for you. All right, now let's talk about driving prospects to your business. How many of you have said, run out of names? I have nobody else to call. I'm not getting referrals from anybody. This business is so tough. Well, let me ask you a question. Have you utilized the +1 concept? Think about this. Have you utilized the +1 concept? Because first I want to refute that first objection that I hear so often, I ran out of names. If you remember the +1 concept, that's how we turn social media contacts into legitimate business prospects. Have you used it yet? Because I know it can get you to the next level of success. If you haven't, you can go back and rewatch that video, or what you can do is you can Google the +1 concept, my name, Ben Newman, and a hidden page on our website will pop up. It'll give you the ways that you can reconnect with people on Facebook by using language that leads with business first, then drives the friendship, as well as reaching out to individuals you've wanted to meet, maybe personal observation, you've read about them in magazines. No more excuses. Get after it. Because imagine if one time per day you reached out to somebody in your ideal target market. You work 225 days in a year, 225 times you did that, how many clients would you wind up with in your ideal target market? So that's part of prospecting. Have you used the +1 concept? The other part of prospecting is, are you getting the affirmative when you are with clients? When you're sitting down, are you prepared to prospect? Have you done your research? A couple of things I have always done when it comes to prospecting is, number one, give the prospect the greatest probability of seeing the whites of the eyes of the person that you want to meet. Well, what does that mean? Well, imagine you're sitting down with somebody for an introductory meeting, or maybe it's a closing meeting, and they start telling you a story of a friend of theirs named Susie. And Susie owns a $10 million business. And when you hear this friend of yours talk about Susie, you're thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, that's like, Susie's in my ideal target market. If I could get in front of Susie, that would be unbelievable. So you get to the end of that meeting. You can almost visualize what Susie looks like because of the fact you've described her so well. So rather than just asking at the end of your time together, you know I like growing my business with referrals. Do you have any referrals? Do you know anybody? Be more clear with the language. Be more pinpointed. Give him the opportunity to see the whites of Susie's eyes. So say, you know what? There was so much fire and energy in you talking about Susie. Now, you know when I reached out to you, I was making no assumptions about your situation, and I'm not making any assumptions about Susie's situation either, and I'm not saying that you are, but I would love to reach out to Susie. She's a business owner just like you. I appreciate the story you've shared. I look forward to this opportunity to help you with the strategies we've already discussed, and I'd love that same opportunity to hear more of Susie's story and to see if there's anything we can do to help her. Drive that prospecting language by talking about his energy so that he can connect to how he can help Susie and he can clearly see Susie. You will get more referrals when you are that direct. That's how you get your prospecting to the next level. Or let me give you another example. Let's say you're in financial services and you're sitting down with an attorney at a brand new law firm. Well, new law firms, what they do, well, old law firms, but the new individuals that come in, the new attorneys, they actually start them in training classes. So you may say, tell me about your training class. Was it a big class, a small class? Because I got to tell you, all these attorneys, there's so much positive energy in your firm. Tell me about your training class. Oh, it was a big class. There were 15 people. Well, who did you get along with the best? Are there individuals who are in your specialty that you've really gotten along with and you've really driven strong relationships with? Yes, absolutely. There's Karen and there's Steve. They are incredible individuals. Tell me more about Karen and Steve. Then they start to talk about Karen and Steve. They're now, in their mind, they're lining up Karen and Steve on a wall, talking about Karen, then talking about Steve. You have them right where you want them. Now you can say, similar to your situation, when I reached out, I was making no assumptions. But you are so excited about Karen and Steve, I would love the opportunity to reach out. I can call them at the firm number that I called you on and see if there's anything I can do to help them. Would you be opposed to me doing that? They say, no, that's not a problem. Would you mind that I at least share that you've got great energy, you love their relationship, and I'm making no assumptions, but you thought it might be a good idea for us to sit down and get together? Give them the greatest probability of seeing the whites of the eyes of the person that you want to meet. The other thing I would do is I would ask people, who do you care about? No matter what you're selling, you're going to hear individuals talk about their lives and tell their stories, whether it's caring about their colleagues, caring about their family members. Ask them, who are some of the people that you most care about? So if it is something that's directed towards growing a sales profession, let's use financial services again. Reach out to them. Ask them, who do you care about? You know, it's amazing when I hear you talk about that individual, and just like we've had the opportunity to uncover ideas where we can help you, we'd love that same opportunity to reach out to Sharon, who you care about so much, to see if we're able to help her as well. Be courageous. Now, here's one thing. I don't know how you're doing prospecting. I'm going to throw another idea out there to you. Many people today are using feed lists. And feed lists are when you go, you do research, you find out who's connected to who on LinkedIn, and you're trying to find all these ways that you can reach out to somebody. And a lot of times people come in, and it can work. I was never a big fan of this philosophy, but it can work. If it's working for you, keep doing it. But here's a way that you can use feed lists without the feeling somebody gets when you share that feed list, which for me, if somebody did that with me, comes across a little awkward. So now here's what you do. You do your research. You find out who they're connected to. And what if you picked the top 3 people on that list? And then you did a little further research, and you actually identified a reason why you would already call that person, kind of like the +1 concept. Then when you're in front of the nominator, you say, I actually noticed that you're connected to these 3 individuals. 1, 2, 3. I am going to be reaching out to them next week. I am going to, that's the key language, I am going to be reaching out to them next week. That means you don't need their approval. You don't need to ask for the referral. You're already telling them, I'm going to call them. What more can you tell me about them? Well, I can tell you that she runs this company, he runs this company, she runs this company. Here are all these amazing things about her and him and her. And they go through and they tell you all about that individual. Now you say, thanks so much for telling me all about him. Now I know more. Now I know why these amazing articles were written about these individuals. Now, I'm planning on calling them anyway. I already have the contact information. But just like I made no assumptions in reaching out to you, would you be okay if when I reached out, I let them know that you nor I were making any assumptions? However, you were excited about the opportunity that we had gotten together, and you thought we might have a great conversation as well. Most times people are going to be agreeable to that because of the fact you didn't really ask for the referral. You just wanted to mention and try to make the world smaller by sharing that you each knew the same person. These are easy prospecting techniques that I know work. How do I know they work? Because I've been in sales for over 20 years. I have sold millions upon millions of dollars of products. These prospecting techniques work. So let me ask you this. Would it make you a little uncomfortable to try something new? Maybe it would. See, because some of these techniques I didn't necessarily design them myself. They're techniques that I learned from other unbelievable, incredible sales professionals. That's often how we learn, by reading great books, by learning from the great ones. When I learned them, yeah, it was new, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but when you feel uncomfortable and you have that new language, being uncomfortable might be what gets you to that next level of growth. So whether it's the +1 concept, giving them the greatest probability of seeing the whites of the eyes, asking for people that care about other people, or using the feed list, but it's a ghost feed list where you've done the research, you're prepared, and you can ask for the people that you want to meet without asking for approval to make the phone call. What would happen for you if you utilized these prospecting techniques? Well, I know what would happen. You would drive growth in your business. You would be in better markets. Your revenues would go up. And most importantly, the impact you would have on the people that you work with would be far greater. Here's what I want you to do as a test. I want you to take 10 minutes. That's right. These are 45-minute rounds. I would love for you, what would happen if you took 10 minutes right now and you thought through and you implemented some of these strategies that we're talking about? I call this uncovering the rocks. You see, because right now, there are these big, gigantic boulders of opportunity that are sitting right on top of this mound of uncomfort. What if you ripped that boulder right out of the way, you uncovered the rocks, and you took action steps? Write down right now, brainstorm with yourself. Who are people you could +1 through personal observation? Who are individuals that you've recently met with that you didn't ask for referrals, but the techniques we've just shared when you're there for a second meeting will help drive success in getting referrals? And who are individuals that are currently on your calendar that are connected to people you already know or you can do research about that'll give you the greatest probability to do that ghost feed list? Take 10 minutes, Be serious with this. Be engaged with this. Be intentional, because this work in this 10 minutes is going to give you the confidence to uncover the steps that it takes to then take action to go find your next great prospects to drive the next level of success in your business. All right, here's what I've got for you. Now, I know what you're thinking to yourself. Of course he's going to talk about the Prize Fighter Day. I mean, at some point in time, he's going to talk about the Prize Fighter Day. He talks about the Prize Fighter Day in every single round. Why do I talk about the Prize Fighter Day in every single round? Because it's the daily disciplines, the process that will drive success in your life. And when you focus on the things you want personally, professionally, and in your service to others, that's when you really get after it in life. So how's the Prize Fighter Day working for you? Now, we just redid Attaining Belief in Yourself, that next level of success. Maybe it's a good time to check your Prize Fighter Day. Have the beliefs gotten bigger to the point where you need to adjust the Prize Fighter Day? Or are there now prospecting strategies of being courageous and action steps, maybe the +1, maybe creating ghost feed lists, that need to become part of the business aspect of your Prize Fighter Day? Be intentional, be focused. Take a look at the Prize Fighter Day. The Prize Fighter Day will drive success. How do I know? Because I've worked with individuals in financial services who became intentional with their daily disciplines, embraced the Prize Fighter Day, and they went to top of the table. That's about the top 0.5% of financial advisors in the world. How about undrafted free agents in the NFL that have wound up on the cover of Sports Illustrated? Undrafted free agents in the NFL that over 3-game stints have led the entire NFL in tackles. Or how about marketing firms that have driven significant success and growth to getting national rankings because of their commitment and service to other companies? Maybe you know who I'm talking about, Abstrakt Marketing. See, and what's great about Abstrakt Marketing is when I hear Abstrakt Marketing talk about their clients, what they talk about is the amazing opportunity they have to be part of their stories. It's not about Abstrakt Marketing, it's about the service of others. That's why I love the company Abstrakt Marketing. That's why I partner with them to create this content every single month to come to you round by round to go to that next level of greatness in your life. So now, a few more minutes to review. Maybe take 3 or 4 minutes here. Your Prize Fighter Day. This can be the difference for you. One final story to wrap up our time together today, and I'm about to get real with you. I'm about to get so real and emotional with you. You know, I've told you before, I'm an emotional guy. I cry when I watch Extreme Home Makeovers, so I'm going to get real with you right now. I want to take you back to November 7th, 2007. At that point in time, I was still a financial advisor with a Fortune 100 financial firm. And I remember that I had been brought in on a meeting with a younger financial advisor at the firm who had brought me in to help with a new prospect. And this story is going to talk about prospecting and courage, uncovering the rocks, and doing what it takes to be successful. So I remember we're sitting in the meeting, and all of a sudden my phone was in my pocket, and it was ringing over and over and over and over and over again. Now, I'd always make it a point, if I'm in a meeting, I am not touching my cell phone. The meeting ends. I reach into my pocket, I pull out my cell phone, and I look down, and I could see that my wife had called over and over and over and over and over again. I pick up the phone and I call her, and she's crying. And my wife, Amy, says, Chris died. Now, Chris was our step-brother-in-law. I said, what happened? She said, Chris, just like he does every single day, his family owned a plumbing company. He dropped their kids, their 2 boys, Carson and Keegan, off at his parents' house. And after he dropped them off, he was heading down the highway, heading to the company in his van. And his van smashed into the back of a backhoe. Backhoe came through the window, hit him in the head, and he was killed by instant, blunt force trauma to the skull. I started bawling uncontrollably. I couldn't believe that Chris had died. I started thinking, what would Mandy do? What about Carson and Keegan? What would their future be like? A couple days went by as they were making preparations for the wake and the funeral. And here are the thoughts that I want to share with you. These are thoughts that are real, And these are thoughts about things that I made the choice not to do. You see, just because you may look me up online or you look at bios and things that are in these handouts, it doesn't matter the sports teams I work with, books that I write, or things that I've done. I am real just like you. There are times where I am a coward. There are times where I am fearful. There are times and days when I don't follow through on the things that I know that I'm supposed to do, and this was one of those situations. I remember when my wife, Amy, I was in financial services. I sold life insurance. And if you remember, I'm living proof of what life insurance does. $100,000 of term insurance put me through college. Yet with Chris, what did I do when my wife made the suggestion you should call Chris? When I remember my wife sending me an email, all typed up and nice with a list of referrals, and I would print it out. And I was kind of old school. I had these little yellow cards, so I would print it out, and then I would write the names of the referrals on those yellow cards. And then I would have Chris's card. And maybe you've done this. You know, Chris's card would come up and I would make excuses. I'd say, oh, well, I'll see Chris at Christmas. Well, I'll see him at Thanksgiving. Oh, we're going back to Edinburgh here soon, and I'll just talk to him then. I'll talk to him in person. I never made the call. Be courageous. Just take action and make the phone calls that you need to make. When that card comes up in your stack or it comes up in your calling list or your phone list, make those calls. Don't make excuses. Just take action. You see, because I didn't take action. And you know, I didn't just not take action on the telephone. I didn't take action when I was with Chris either. I didn't ask at Christmas. I didn't ask at Thanksgiving. I didn't ask when I saw him to sit down and talk to him about how I could help the family. So as these days went by, the guilt built inside me. I felt terrible not knowing if Mandy and the boys would be okay. I kept this all inside until my wife and I were driving to the wake in Edinburgh. And as we were driving to the wake, I finally opened up to my wife and I said, I don't know what Mandy's going to do. I hope that Mandy will be okay. I never made the phone call when you told me to make the phone call. You sent me the referral. Why didn't I do it? I was beating myself up inside. After that, I was relatively quiet as we drove to that wake. We get to the wake, and there was this little house that the wake was at, and there was this long line. I've never seen a line like this for a wake. Chris was an unbelievable guy, amazing energy, amazing fire. I can still see his smile. And I remember walking all the way into the building, walking all the way through all the flowers, getting all the way to the front, right where the open casket was. I remember embracing Mandy with tears running down my face. I remember embracing Cindy, our mother-in-law, tears running down my face. And after I made it past the casket, Cindy said, Ben, come over here. Come over here. She walked me all the way to where her purse was by this big grouping of flowers. She reaches down into her purse and she pulled out a business card. She said, what's the name of that company that you represent? I told her the name of the company, and she said, this is unbelievable. She said, do you know Chet? She said, because Chet works for the same company as you. Chet is the individual who sold Mandy and Chris their life insurance. I had this unbelievable sense of relief. One of my brothers from the same company had picked me up when I didn't have the courage to pick up that phone or to talk to Chris. I didn't have the courage to do it myself. I can't tell you how thankful I am to this day that Chet asked the tough, courageous questions. Chet had picked up that telephone to help Chris do the right planning so that Mandy and those two boys are taken care of for the rest of their life. What's the moral of this story? The moral of this story is I have fears just like you. I have days where I don't follow through on what I'm supposed to do. Maybe you have those days as well. But I can share with you that we don't always get that lucky. I am truly blessed that Chet was there to pick me up off that mat alive. But what more can you do? When you look at attaining belief in yourself, we're talking about your goals, your vision, your purpose. We talk about your prize fighter day, the things you can choose to do to be successful. Does it make sense for you to follow through, to take action, to not do what I did? Does it make sense when you feel like the world is trying to tell you that it's not your time to rise up and to keep fighting? When the individual that you're up against or the company that you're up against looks too big, does it make sense to just rise up? Stay focused on what you can control and to deliver. And when you get knocked down, what happens when you just rise up? I get so fired up about these opportunities to be with you. This has been round 7 of the Abstrakt Sales Academy. Go out and take your prospecting to the next level. Take your daily disciplines and your intentionality to the next level. And most importantly, from anything we talked about today, be courageous. Attack your fears. Attack the process and go get after it. Until round 8, go do great things.